Why is the digital business important in Sri Lanka, and are we on the right track? Who would like to take that? Why is digital business important in Sri Lanka, and are we on the right track? There's another question attached to that. Yeah. Any comment on digital adoption rate? So, similar question. Okay. Any one of you can take it and run with it.
So, digital adoption really took off, Peter, post-COVID, or rather when COVID happened.
Speak to you.
Thank you for that question. That's a very interesting one. So, there was some degree of laggardness in terms of digital adoption, even when it comes to digital economy. If you look at global benchmarks, it's about 15% of the economy should be a digital economy. Sri Lanka is less than 4%, or it's 4 point something, if I'm not mistaken. The figure might be off. But the point is, there is so much potential that can be explored in terms of digitization. If you take mobile phone penetration, figures serve correct, it's about 150% plus, if I'm not mistaken, Varuna. But certainly and smartphone penetration and smartphone adoption is quite high. The Census Department estimates that digital literacy, not computer literacy, is around 60%. It's higher in urban areas. It's higher in 18 to 25 youth.
Okay. How do they even measure that? It's like literacy rate. You can write your name and sign your literate. So you say 94% literacy. I don't know whether that's true.
So actually, Peter, there's a flaw in how we calculate digital adoption. Okay. We are still looking at something called computer literacy, which is the ability to use a computer.
Right.
Now, the ideal term would be globally is digital literacy,
and
which
what does that mean?
Now I think that correction has been done, where we are looking at the ability to navigate a digital device, such as a smartphone, a tablet, or anything like that. Now, originally it was not captured. So if you take computer literacy, it's about still 30% in the country, because there's an incorrect measurement of how we are measuring that. But of course, now that trend and momentum is changing. Now with that, who has come forward to service this adoption, to service this new form of customer that's coming in, especially the youth, like Varuna very correctly said. The youth are very used to a very different form of customer interaction. They speak in terms of texting. They're not used to going to a physical outlet. They want to instantly be replied, instantly be serviced, proactively be looked at from a customer servicing point of view. And this is the customer that will be coming to the banks very soon, Peter. This is the customer that will be coming to every other organization.
Yes, but the question is, are we on the right track? That's what he's asking. And how is the adoption? Yes.
I'm coming to that. So adoption is there in terms of infrastructure. But who is seizing the opportunity? So I'll look at the state first. There is a huge gap there.
So you're saying the technology is available?
The technology infrastructure is
there. Available. It's available.
So it's there. Now it's a matter of who will take advantage of that. We don't have to look far. We just have to look at India. Look at what they've done with Aadhaar. Look at how they've transformed the entire public sector to be more customer citizen-centric, not even customer-centric, citizen-centric. Now you mentioned CEB. Very interestingly, Peter, the question should be why were they so agile now? I know because I've had a few consultations with them. That's because the cash crunch came. They could not print any bills anymore. The bill was costing them X amount of rupees.
And they'll disconnect, man. Exactly. They disconnected me 2 days ago.
No, the printing
because I had forgotten.
Exactly. Now they send you an SMS now.
3,000 rupees I had to pay.
So now they send you an SMS, and that's a couple of cents for them. All this time they were spending X amount of rupees for the printed bill. All this time they did not change because the circumstances did not support that change. But now, because they're in a crunch,
so that's my point. So you see, the business need drives,
Not only the business. So when it comes to state, now we're talking about various plans in terms of state to be digital first, and that's very good. Has anyone thought about, since we spoke about data, have we thought about how data is to be liberalized and democratized, to be shared among these organizations, various state sector organizations? Why are we going to 3 separate government offices even today? Because the data is in silos. And that is by law. Because if you look talk to, let's say, the Inland Revenue Department. Those data cannot be shared by law. The Motor Traffic Department, that is their data by law. They cannot share it. The meteorological data cannot be shared by law. So certainly if you are going to be digital first there in state, that is what you need to look at.
Okay, I'm sorry I'm cutting you because I just want to get more questions in. So there's a long statement, and I think since somebody has taken the trouble to write it, I must read it. I think it will be directed at you. Regarding government services, new generations are attached and like to go forward with online services. Government still can't issue a train ticket online. So is digital transformation possible in Sri Lanka government? There are enough knowledge and support can be found from government universities. So old and outdated seniors in government organizations aren't the problem. Aren't they the problem? They are so obsessed with culture and politics. From your point of view, what would happen to entities like SL Post? So it's a very broad statement, but I think you get the gist of what they're trying to say.
I can understand what he's trying to say. Basically, the government digitalization process is not that easy task to do. The thing is, from the scratch, you have to change your mindset, attitudes, and those things are very, very difficult within that framework. Top of that, procurement systems, procurement guidelines, the bottlenecks you have, red tapes you have in the procurements are the other killers. Talent, the procurement guys, they don't know anything about when it comes to IT. So those are huge problems in the government, but we have to change everything. But Peter asked another question for the previous time about ICT. I have to tell something about ICT. ICT is a dying body. It's going to shut down and they are going to have a separate entity, I think.
That's, I think, about time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's for the last 25 years.
Joke, you know.
So it's too old now. I mean, but the thing is, just imagine the people who are, ICT board is consisting of 99.9% academics. That's the industry. ICT should be an industry-driven this thing.
Yeah.
But I'm not disgracing or anything for the academics, but it has to be a mix of academics and industry people. But how do you run it should ICT should run as a private institution.
But it was run like that.
So, but it's...
Okay.
Right. So those are the issues.
Thank you.
Yeah. So even the government sector, most of the institution, the problem is that. But we need some top body who can drive it, by force. Entity, authority sort of a thing in one fine day. I think another 6-7 months they are planning to have it. Then I think we can drive the transformation what to expect.
May I conclude with
There's
couple of
another...
words?
Sorry.
Yeah. Conclude what you are saying and what Asela was trying to say. We need policy and leadership for digitalization. Exactly. Right? Those two words are the missing words. And Peter, creating an application and phone app, or just talking about AI, or getting a smart board to a classroom is not digitalization.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The exact example that you took as Ceylon University board, I'm also very happy the way that they manage on the app. But the millions of dollars are wasted at the power generation side.
Yeah, I take your point.
Highly disconnected
Good point.
Power generation, transmission, and not addressing the weather.
That is right. That's right. So customer experience is one, but how can you use IT for efficiency,
IT
particularly in energy?
IT can make
energy
much more
it's a big,
profitable.
much bigger topic. Yeah, it's a very interesting question which I myself wanted to ask, but it's come from the audience. Are our IT folks placing IT needs in correct and logical manner to the board? So they are putting it back to the IT themselves. They're asking, are we doing that? IT folks should be more knowledgeable on how to market our needs and how to tackle company weakness over IT strength. So anyone can take that question. I'm just wondering, I'd like you to answer, Regie, because VMware has so many solutions that are very compelling for business. Like when we drove virtualization. We could tell that in 8 minutes, we could tell that to a CEO with no jargon. And we were able to convert so many companies to virtualization. You know that history. So are we helping? Rather than sell technology, are we having sessions with IT professionals? Here's how you present this solution as a business requirement. Are we doing enough of that? Or are we selling the technology?
Yeah. So So to answer this, when we are dealing with the customers, right? So generally the questions comes, they need, this is their requirement, right? So as our ICT practitioners, so what we need to do is we need to see what is best for them, right? Whatever they ask, what they needed. So we need to look at it as a overall business aspect, as a customer success perspective. We need to look at it, what is best for them. And we need to enable them in a complete transformation roadmap. So this is not only specifically with IT, so we may have to share sort of a transformation roadmap. What could be the
I'm
success?
sorry. I'm more than that. I'm saying, can you take a solution, any solution of yours, and explain that, the business drivers, the use cases, so that they can then quickly see, here's what we did with this solution at Bank X or this industry or whatever. Give more of those to the IT rather than hammer them with specifications. Are companies like VMware doing enough of that?
Yeah, it's
Can
very
we do
rare.
better? Can we do better?
Yeah. So generally, IT has to be. So mainly, this has to address as a business driver, right? So IT solution, it should be converted as business driver. So that should be the approach as IT practitioners we need to do with the IT. Not only with IT, even with the management, even with the finance. So what could be the business outcome? So what is the investment, when they can get the return, right? So those kind of approach we need to take as a business driver. So not only selling purely a IT concept or what is a technical advantage. So it should be a complete transformation, bringing the business benefits.
Okay.